to this evening's proceedings, and it's not going to be our show, it's going to be the fire people's show, but we're so pleased to have everybody here. Before that, though, and welcome home to everybody who's back to your homes. It's been a long time, and I've been asked a whole lot of times by the media, how does it feel? Oh, sorry, how does it feel? And I said, well, you just have to ask anybody around how they're feeling, but I said, it's exciting to know you're going to see not just your home, but all the faces that you're used to seeing in your community. So it's great to see your faces. It's great to see you all here. Now, the people who've done all of this, ladies and gentlemen at the back, the firefighters. I know that like everybody, the police, our conservation people, everybody who's been involved in this whole thing, the offices of the fire chiefs and all the rest of this business, you know, people from other countries, people from other provinces are so much appreciated what you've done. And I've been asked this question so many times by the media because that's been what I've been doing for the last while, and all I've been able to say was this is a joint effort by a community that really, really cares about itself and about each other. And so they've taken care of this community and as well as they could the communities around them. And I think, again, I was asked, will this bring our communities closer? I hope so. I hope that we all understand that, you know, as a group, that's what it takes for strength. And it looks to me like that's what's gotten us through. So I'm not going to take this over. Did you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
Of course. Just kidding. Before we go any further, I'm going to try not to cry. I want to take a moment and say it's bittersweet that we're grateful to be home, but our sister community has had a tremendous loss, and we need to send our love and strength to them. And I know as a community, we will do anything and everything we can to help them. So I just really want to take a minute. And also because the big chief won't say anything about himself. Grace would never come with you, usually, but I will say that under pressure, 100%. This wouldn't have went the way it went without you and your leadership. So Jason deserves a huge round of applause. I know I've learned a lot of fire terms in the last 30 days, and I've anointed myself fire person, but I'm not, and all of you have helped me tremendously, and Councillor Eagle as well, to learn a lot and been very graceful with us. Our unified command is quite a few people, and I'm sure you will talk about it, but I also want to include a few people. So OFC, Canada Parks, our fire department, I want to give a special thanks. So I watched fire departments from all over the province, out of the province, come here and fight for a community that they don't know. It's so humbling to watch these men. But our fire department knew all of you. And they lost properties while they were fighting to save yours. And I saw this, and they never complained, not once. And I am humbled to say that I got to work alongside you for 30 days. So I appreciate them more than they'll ever know. So we also had EMO from Winnipeg, Bob here. We had our own EMO officer as well. We had a pet wellness team that consisted of Councillor Eagle and her husband Harley, who worked every day for hours and hours making sure that all the pets were taken care of. It was a huge undertaking. So kudos to them. Spoke on the phone to every single person that called. Harley was, well, I shouldn't say he's a pro at breaking and entering now, but he is. With permission, everybody, with permission. We had our utilities crew here, so to James and his crew, Shane, thank you, RCMP. Honestly, Nobody knows how much work you guys did keeping everybody safe. So the thing is, when you're in a mandatory evacuation, the fire crews are in charge of their own people, but every single person that's in this community that isn't fire protection, this team is responsible for. That's why it's important they know where they are. The food service crew cannot. Dan and Don Halady and their team, every day but 2, cooked 260 minimum meals, breakfast, lunch, and supper. Never complained. We scavenged from co-op. Thank you, Randy. We got procurement, but they are still working and they are still feeding people and they still haven't had a day off. So if you see them, thank them. I myself have been very humbled to be a part of this, to represent our community. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I thank you all for the well wishes throughout. It definitely is tiring, but once again, I am very grateful to have been a part of this. So tonight, they're gonna give a wildfire update. It's gonna be about an hour, and if we have time after, we'll have a Q&A. If we need more questions, we absolutely will have another session. This is a lot to unpack. I was asked yesterday by the press, what did it feel like when there was only 5 people in a fire crew here? I said, we are proud Northerners and think our community is our people. I can tell you that it felt like our town wasn't breathing. And when we started with critical service coming back, you could just feel the breath. And the last 2 days at the Wellness Center, the people coming in, I know we're gonna be okay. I know Daenerys will be okay eventually, and we'll all get through this. So on to you, Jason.
Just one sec before you do. I was blessed to have the best team possible. They asked me to leave, and I did, but I was blessed to have the best team possible here. And I thank them very much, and you for your updates and for the organizational skills and the whole team that was here. It just couldn't be any better. So people said, you know, how do you do it? I said, I don't do anything. I just pick all the right people, or else they were picked for me. I was very fortunate.
Hello? Can you hear me? All right. Look way up. All right, my name is Jason Curris. I am the Flon Fire Chief, as you may know. I have with me Dave Parker. He is part of the OFC. Beside him is Davis. I'm sorry, Davis, I can't pronounce your last name. So, Oatney? Oh, wait. He is the incident management team leader for the Wildfire Manitoba people. Early on, after we had our initial period of fighting the fire with the crews and whatnot, we decided to go with unified command. What that brought us was the ability to all work together on one page. So that was OFC, Manitoba Wildfire, and Flin, City of Flin firefighters. So that's why after July 8th, we became unified command, and we acted as one whole entity. So we worked together. So a couple things about tonight. This is a wildfire, or this is a fire update. I don't have a whole lot of answers with regards to anything else. I will try to answer as many things as possible. With the people that we have here, we'll try to get as much information to you as possible. But like I said, the reason that we were hoping to have this is for any questions based on what the fire did, where it went, any kind of questions on that area, that's what we're here for. Unfortunately, we have a hard timeline of 8 o'clock. We have another meeting to go to at that point in time to discuss tomorrow's events and what we're going to do. So I would ask that you please try to keep your questions short, and we'll try to answer it and get through as many as humanly possible. On a wonderful note, you have all met my team. They are absolutely amazing. They deserve all the credit for what was able to be done here. Carmen and Conservation and RCMP there deserve so much more credit than they're being given. They've been here the whole time and absolutely slugging it out with us. So thank them. I mean, they're cops, so they don't get that very often. So try to make sure you thank them. They were absolutely involved, or absolutely amazing. So I wrote down I started with a couple dates here. May 27th was when this fire actually started to cross over into Manitoba. We began to assess the areas, the surrounding area. At that point in time, we knew that it was too large to be able to be contained by just our firefighters. No matter how amazing they are, it was huge. So we contacted the OFC at that point in time to come and start to facilitate getting more equipment. At that point in time, we actually had 2 OFC members that were fantastic. They were actually being deployed to Lynn Lake and flying out of here. We asked them politely to not leave, and with some help from George and the mayor's office, we were able to convince the province that we needed them, and they stayed, and they were absolutely fantastic. They left, and we ended up with Parker, but I guess, it's fine. May 28th, we continued to fight the fires where we could from where we were. The area between Cliff Lake and Trout Lake was identified as the only way we were going to stop this fire from entering the city. It was, for lack of a better term, it was a pinch point, and it was the only way that we would be able to effectively fight it with what we had for resources at that time. We called in for additional municipal support, and it started to arrive at that point in time. Over the course of this entire thing, this entire event, I should quit calling it a thing, we had 194 firefighters, structural firefighters, because I'm just speaking to the structural firefighters, from 53 different municipalities. So 53 different cities, townships, everywhere, sent 194 firefighters. Along with the OFC, had 15 members. There were 18 fire trucks from different municipalities and 29 other apparatuses, including light duty trucks, snuffer trucks, and anything that we could get our hands on. If you drive by the City Hall, you'll see that Carberry has even left their truck here for Greg Nixon to drive, because he quite likes it. These communities didn't ask anything. All they wanted to do was help. So we started to get a lot of those resources started coming in early on May 28th, and they just ramped up to absolutely amazing levels. The Co-op Cardlock area and Cliff Lake Pump House area was obviously a huge area of concern for us too. We put people there and made sure that we mitigated any kind of fire that was around that area for several days. The Cliff Lake and Trout Lake was a very, very stubborn fire. It's a very difficult area to get into. So like I said, my crew there just absolutely killed themselves to make sure it held, and they held it. May 31st, North Star Road, Whitefish Lake, Sally's Beach. The fire swept so hot and so fast overnight. At one point in time, it was clocked at over 50 meters per minute travel time. It's absolutely insane how fast that went. It traveled 19 kilometers overnight. So to put that in perspective, if you look at where it was at Trout Lake, it skipped that hard, that fast, all the way to start to impact North Star Road, Whitefish Lake, and Sally's Beach. So we were now fighting a fire not just in town, we were fighting a fire to help out with cottage country and associated areas. We sent several units to Sally's Beach, Sourdough Road, and Whitefish Bay. We began putting out as much as we could, as hard and as fast as we could. On June 1st, it was continued efforts on all of those areas. It's a very difficult fires to put out because it burned so hot so fast, it skipped over areas and left large pockets of vegetation. So we would fight it in one area and it would rekindle in another, and it was just a straight slugfest. I won't elaborate more on that. On June 2nd, the fire jumped Highway 10 near the airport, and we were afraid that we were going to lose the airport, which we desperately needed for everything that we were doing out there. So a lot of effort started going to attack that entire Highway 10 area. Probably any of you drove through that area, seen where it jumped. It's quite clear, visible. June 3rd, we sent units to Creighton and Denair Beach to start to assist with their fires that were coming in from that angle. June 4th, we continued to basically do everything that we had been up to those few days. And that's, June 6th, it changes because now we had to add in not only all those areas we were fighting, we had fires that were spotting up near Phantom Lake and Mandy Lake Mine Road, or Mitchell Road, if you're familiar with that area. The fires swept in there very, very aggressively. Winds were all over the place. We'd have strong winds coming from the north, and then the next day we'd have them coming from the west, and they were not our friend at all. Those are the dates that key things happened. Those are the timeline that you might not have been familiar with because we weren't able to get you out the information that I would have liked to. And that's on me. I wish I would have been able to do more updates, but I wasn't. So thankfully, Allison was able to try to keep you updated with as much information as possible. She did absolutely amazing given all the trying times that she's had. But like I said, we did everything we could to make sure that things were saved. So other than that, I don't really have a whole lot of exact things, so I will open it up for questions and anything that you would like to talk about.
Okay, so whereabouts is the fire now?
I got a great person for you.
Yeah. We have some maps up over there for everyone to take a look at, and it's going to be kind of hard as a large group for me to describe stuff, but I can go point at it and kind of talk about where the most areas of heat are, if that would help. My name is Davis Ogwe. Oh, name the spots. I see. So right now, so please keep in mind that under our unified command, and I'll soon be the only incident commander because Dave has to go to help out in Lynn Lake, and Jason's taking care of the fire department and his family. So as of tomorrow, I'll be the one incident commander. So we've only been really in charge of the Manitoba side of the fire. Saskatchewan side is doing their own thing, and we're trying to communicate with them. So I'm only going to speak to the stuff that's in Manitoba that we've been responsible for. So right now, the most active area on our piece of the fire is over in the Neosat Lake area, if you're familiar with that. And we've got a bunch of crews line spiked out there. They have been for a while, and we're flying other crews that aren't qualified to spend the night on the line. We're flying them in and out every day, using some boats from the local department, which has been great. So yeah, the Neosat Lake area over in here, and then when you start to round the corner, Timberwolf Lake, there's some hot edge over in there for sure. I'm not saying there isn't any heat out here, because there is, but this is kind of the biggest area of concern right now. It's where most of our resources are, because we did start focusing. And please remember, this is our 8th operational shift. I came here with 7 other individuals from the lower 48 and just kind of plugged into the operation that those 2 had built and had going, and we're just trying to help out. So all these local folks did a really good job of starting to set us up for success around what we're calling the Flin Flon horseshoe. So that's been all of our primary focus, protecting the cottage communities, protecting the town of Flin Flon here. And now that we're feeling really good about that, that's why we let you in. We're feeling very confident that all of this area is secured, and we don't expect anything to spot out of that area and push into town, just because of all the hard work that is done. We're feeling really good about 90 meters of cold black off of the edge, which is really good. We've burned out some of the interior green islands that, if the wind picked up, would have a chance to spot outside, so we've really been trying to take care of that. And so now that we've let you in because we feel so comfortable about this whole area, we're starting to shift our resources out in front. We do still have some folks down in here. That was a very active area that's taken a lot of energy to control, because we didn't want it to keep skipping along, jumping over lakes and jumping over rivers. So we do have our second most number of people in this area here, because that was before this area kicked up. That was the most active area. So a large group of people out here. some more here, and then we do have, there's a bunch of remote valleys. As you know, there's cabins and stuff out there, so we did put up pumps and hose and sprinkler systems around a bunch of these cabins up through the lake systems. Does that answer your question?
How big is the fire?
We don't have a hard answer, somewhere between 370, 380,000 hectares. It's a very large fire. This is a long duration wildfire event. And yes, the moisture has helped us a bunch, but you're gonna see smoke until probably the snow flies or we get a lot of rain over an entire week period. What happens is we get a little bit of rain, but some of the areas the duct layer is so deep, you know, so we've got fire just creeping around, you know, 2-3 feet down in the needle pass. And when it dries out enough, it finds its way up, pops up. So you will keep seeing smoke, I would suspect. But yeah, the goal is, now that we're feeling locked in here, we're just progressively working out in front. So I did mention we have most people out there, but we do have some folks hitting the hot areas that we haven't been able to get to yet that don't have as much potential, but they still need to be taken care of. So we're essentially moving to the north and east progressively. In the meantime, focusing people in specific areas that could be a problem if we get another drying trend in a wind event. What else?
That's good, thank you. How come on May 27th, whenever this started, where was Manitoba Conservation or DNR or all this? So where were they, why wasn't this initial attack going this slow? When I was watching in, like gargoyles there, helicopters, only helicopter, fire department working, you could I aided them, great them, anxious support. I want to know why you guys are the top and Miller Winnipeg didn't get Flin and the fire department here with full support and you guys could have stopped all that right there. I watched it from yard line, sitting up in the rock.
Okay. I appreciate the input, right? Please try to remember, I've been here 8 operational shifts. I'm certainly not going to speak for the Manitoba Wildfire Service, sir, because I really should not. My name is Davis Owen. I'm with the United States Forest Service. I work in Utah.
We tried to get more people in on this fire that are trained to do this and it fell on deaf ears for everything. I don't know where Manitoba failed there. They failed there.
I can't answer that for you, sir. What I can speak to is the time that I've been here, the operation that I've helped these folks continue running, and what we're doing currently. And we'll be here until July 2nd, when Manitoba Fire Service is planning on bringing another incident management team in to replace us because we're timing out. We're hitting our max number of operational shifts that we're allowed to work.
There's 41 held back in the province. I don't know one when it comes to this fire. Maybe there was.
Well, I can tell you, sir, we currently have multiple resources from Wakusco. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced that. Wakusco? Oh, yeah. So we have a bunch of Wakusco resources. I can't speak to that, sir. I was not here. Is there any other questions that maybe I can answer based on my time here and my knowledge of the wildfire itself, not the politics? Yes, ma'am.
Hi, I have a cabin right south of Pepper Bay.
Okay.
Really downtown stuff.
Okay.
And I know that's where the belt torch is taken out to backburn.
Okay.
I'm just wondering if my cabin was run before or after that backburn.
So your cabin was burned before the ignition operation, ma'am. Absolutely was, and I'm sorry for your loss. And we were, basically the reason we did that ignition operation is because that area of the fire still had potential to keep moving with wind and burn other people's cabins too. When that burned, my operations folks told me that that wind gust was so strong and so hard, I couldn't fly anyone in the aviation, I couldn't get anyone out there via boat. So I'm really sorry for your loss, ma'am. We did the best we could.
I understand, I was just curious if
Yeah.
there was going to be anything in this case, and I just
Nope.
was wondering.
We did complete 2 ignition operations on this fire, and we were able to hold all of them, and they really saved us 4 days each of, people on the ground running pumps, running hoses. So we did complete 2 ignition operations. They were all 100% successful, and no structures were lost because of our ignition operations.
I was just curious, I mean, you
Yeah.
have to do what you have to do.
Yeah, no, we did not burn down any structures. Anyone? That's it? No one else?
Hello. So, who else is up? You're on the mic. What's your beef? We still have a half hour. I don't really have any jokes, but go ahead.
I read that we're still on alert right now. So, like they said, they're going to go again.
I sincerely hope that that is not the case, but it is wildfire season and there is no guarantee in anything that we do. So we've had spot fires show up that had nothing to do with this initial fire, and they're either lightning strikes or other causes. So anything can happen at any moment in time. We should always be prepared for a possible evacuation, no matter what that is, whether or not it's a wildfire or another natural disaster.
And I'll look up, way up, way up. I just want to make it clear. It was made clear to everybody when, want me to use the mic?
It's dead.
It's dead?
It did.
It was made clear to everybody before your return that you should keep a bag packed, that you should understand that this could turn around again. Nobody's expecting that, but if it happens, don't be saying you weren't warned, you were. And so, everybody who's done all this does not want to do it again. But if all hell breaks loose, you're leaving another time. There's no question about it. That's the way it is, okay? Thank you.
Yeah, like George just said, just remember, we didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to leave everybody. I didn't want people to have to go. It was for your safety. It was for our safety, so that we didn't have to have accountability. The RCMP were so busy that they couldn't guarantee people's safety that were in town. We had them, they were doing everything else. My people were out in key areas. If we had people in town to worry about, we can't effectively do our job. And there was times, I won't lie, that I was scared that we were gonna lose the town. Close. So if that Cliff Lake and Trout Lake wouldn't have held, your lives all would have been in danger. It's those people over there that made sure that you're coming back to structures that are still standing. So the evacuation is not an easy thing, but good.
I know you can't speak on behalf of Wildfire, but, because it's on the other side of the border and it still affects a lot of cottages, and that where it can still sneak in onto the Manitoba. So where are we sitting with that? What's your working relations with protecting us from that side?
We have a few key areas identified. I don't know if you want to talk to that, or
I couldn't hear the question, but I can speak to.
where are they at with SPSA? Are we
SPSA.
the Saskatchewan side?
Oh, so the Saskatchewan side is running their own operation. We've asked if they wanted our help quite a few times. Talking to the incident commander 3 days ago over there, he said they didn't need any help, that they have everything under control. But I literally, that's the only knowledge I have of that side of the fire, just because of some of the rules, the interprovincial rules. Like my helicopters are not allowed to fly over the border without special permission. So, and we can definitely do that, but they haven't asked for it. And I've offered, I think, 3 times now, today being the 3rd time. But sounds like they have it under control, but I cannot speak for that. That's just what I've been told by their incident commander, is that they don't need our help.
Watching it?
Oh yes, of course.
I did a flight we did a flight this afternoon.
We did a flight this afternoon.
And we could see it, so we know exactly where the hottest area is. So part of what we do is plan for the worst, right? That's part of my job, is plan for the worst. So if they don't ask for help and they can't get it, and it ends up crossing into, this province, we have plans in place. We have an ignition operation plan. So if the conditions permit, we have a plan to try and eliminate a bunch of fuel between you and that piece of the fire down to the southwest. It's pretty much southwest.
It's a
but-
very good area right now for
Yeah.
protection for us anyways.
Exactly.
We
It's
have
a long ways away.
Yeah, we have several days and lakes between where it is right now.
Right, and
So-
we do have plans in place so that if they ask for help, we will send whatever they need to them. And if it, for whatever reason, gets on to the Manitoba side, we have plans in place to put in pumps, hose lays. If we have to do an ignition operation, we would, but if the conditions aren't there, then we'd do it with the other way, with pumps, hose lays, helicopters, scoopers, get the bombers in. So we have a lot of options. If it does continue to burn in that southwest area of the fire that we have no control over. We're feeling really good about being able to stop it between some lakes, some road systems, and the plan we put in place, and the number of people we do have here. And then on July 2nd, Manitoba Wildfire Service they're bringing in 100 more firefighters, just because they do think this is a long duration event despite the little bit of moisture. So we're bringing in extra people just in case. Just know that, well, this is the worst wildfire year in Canada's history, first of all, so that really stretches resources thin. So that's why they even asked us from the lower 48 to come up to help, but there's only so much we could do from the lower 48 too, because our wildfire season has started. Alaska is burning up, so a lot of our folks went to Alaska. So we're doing the best we can with what we have. We're feeling really good about the plan we have in place. Primary, then we've got a backup contingency line all set up that we can take action on depending on if it moves from the southwest. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
I have a question kind of based on that question. I think a lot of us live in Flin on the Manitoba side and have cabins and cottages on the Saskatchewan side. So is there someone that we can contact to get more information on the Saskatchewan? Is there someone local that we can?
They are set up currently at the Sportsplex.
Yep.
They have information and their wildfire team is there.
Yep.
So.
Can I say something about that? So, we have a cabin in the same location. I do have a property on the Saskatchewan side that was burned by the Wildfire. So, I haven't spoken too much about it because I don't ever want to take away from the loss of it. Even though it's our second one. It is unfortunate that nobody has been contacted about the properties. Saskatchewan and Manitoba run very differently. We should all be very grateful that we are from Manitoba right now. It creates bitterness in our communities. It creates have and have-nots. I have openly said to other administrations and on a political level that when we are in a disaster, we need to work as one community to protect everyone. It's unfortunate and sad. And from a personal, it's been a hard 30 days watching everybody, especially when I know how great of a team we've had, and they have not been afforded the same. It's unfortunate that we had the resources after we had last event, and they did not get them. And everybody needs to know that we need that. And so, we have not gotten a call either, and we've tried. And I'm in the, so
And
we
I
should be
can't-
grateful.
I can't specifically speak to your question, but I do know that prior to coming to this fire, I was in London.
It's working now. We got new batteries.
I can't speak for,
We got new batteries.
I can't speak for your question, but I do know that before I came to this fire, I was in Lactavani. And I know that there was a fire down in West Hawk Lake. And the east, we also had one up in, I think, Wallace Lake. We have people up there. So and when it came to value protection, Wildland Fire said they have never seen a season like this. Literally, their supply trailers of hoses, pumps, sprinklers were depleted. We were literally removing value protection from one area so that we could put it up in another high-risk area. So, like I said, I can't speak for Wildfire and why they didn't have crews here, but I know that they're actively fighting a number of fires in Manitoba as we speak every day.
But
This
they
spring.
also have consistency that they can get along. Canada, when this happened May 27th, Canada wasn't burning. Manitoba was, Flin was the hot area actually in Canada.
Yep.
And CC could have done
Yeah, and I do appreciate that, and our unified command people, we're dealing with this fire, and I can't speak to sort of what CIFC was doing or those other areas, but after this is done, I'm sure there's going to be an after-action report, and some of those things may come up in that after-action report, but I can tell you that this team worked as hard as they could with what they had done.
Yes, sir.
Question for you two is mostly as wildland firefighters. How does this situation compare to other situations in other places that you may have worked on? I know you're obviously coming in from the States, different experience in different areas. How does this compare to other firefights that you've been a part of?
Well, it's certainly the largest hectares-wise or acres-wise that I've ever been on. There are a lot of complexities as far as all the remote cabins. So this has been a very challenging IC assignment for me. It's been a very challenging assignment for me, but luckily I had these two that already had a great system built and a bunch of the locals that were working, and I kind of stepped into a well-oiled machine with the 7 other of us that came up from the lower 48. And yeah, it's been a very challenging assignment for sure. And a lot of it is because of how large it is and all of the complexities to it. We can't drive to everything to put it out, right? So we're boating people in, we're flying people in. So it's been a very complex fire. Yes, ma'am.
I couldn't help but notice that Cranberry Portage was able to go home quite soon because they had a fire last year. And I was wondering if that was a lesson to us as a community, maybe a way to protect in future if we know that we're gonna maintain this dryness and this winds like that I never remember
Right.
as a child having here.
In the city of Flin Flon now, we have a lot of area that is going to be protected just like that, especially to the north of us. Those areas that burned very thoroughly, we'll say, will assist us for a very long time. Everything that was done to mitigate the fire ahead of time and even after Cranberry Fire, we had infrastructure already cleaned up, areas that were cleaned up. Mike Funk's over there, he worked his butt off last year to make sure those critical infrastructures were covered. So no matter what, we have a lot of that already either was done or some of it now naturally has occurred, and we definitely have reduced fire load, but we still have a lot of areas that are still able to come in. So it's always going to be a concern.
Yes, sir.
This one's directed to Tom Lindsay, our MLA. Are you going to be, I saw Tom, where is he? There he is, Tom. Are you going to be talking to our premier and seeing if we can get more interprovincial cooperation? I know we're talking about it from our prime minister, everything, we can get more interprovincial trade. Like here's a perfect case of this, where you aren't able to access Saskatchewan and Saskatchewan isn't able to access us. Are we going to see if we can get something done about that?
I've already been talking to various people in the government about that. In fact, Allison and I had that conversation today. You'll recall, Don, that from the mining side of things, we drew a map of what was called the Flin Flon Mineral Area Agreement so that we knew what rules applied and we did all those kind of things. In my mind, we can do something similar so that all the different jurisdictions that have control of various pockets in our bigger community are at the table and then have one central command. I've already started having those conversations and hopefully there'll be more official follow-up from them.
Thanks, Tom.
What else? Yes, sir.
To go off a little bit of what you said, particularly Jason there, about things that were learned about the fire last summer around Cranberry and the devastation that wrought, and how that was, like, the lessons from that were able to be converted to this. I think I could speak for everybody in this room saying that we don't want to have to go through something like this again. What are some lessons so far that you think could be taken into the future to prevent something like this from happening again?
There's lots of lessons learned after any kind of incident. It doesn't matter how small or how large it is. Some of the stuff that we were rolling out this spring, and Casper can attest to it, before these wildfires started, was the Fire Smart program. And it tells you how to mitigate the risk around your own home, which starts with cleaning up. A great deal of wildfires that happen and homes and things are lost are due to not mostly, I shouldn't say it like that, things that are left in areas that are going to impact. The fire doesn't burn your house. The fire burns that pile of wood that you have that's sitting beside your house. That pile of wood starts your house on fire. So the Fire Smart program has a lot of tips like that on how to mitigate those risks so that you can have a fire sweep over and minimize the risk to it. So things like that we're gonna obviously very much ramp up, getting that information out as fast and accurately as possible. That whole program, that Fire Smart program is very educational, it's very good, and we can all do it. I need to do it myself, so.
One more question, if I can. Do we have a confirmed number or even a ballpark number for how many structures were lost in this fire? Even if it may be on the Manitoba side, I know Saskatchewan may keep their own numbers, but do we have that?
Saskatchewan will have their own numbers and we have our own numbers, and as soon as everybody is accounted for and notified, those numbers will come out, but we are still notifying people.
On the, you were talking about people cleaning up. All I can think about is the day before we left, we drove up Trout Lake Road, and people around here have been doing it for years, dumping their lawn clippings and trees. Are we going to do something about that now to try and stop it, or is there any way we can stop it? Like, I thought if the fire came down that Trout Lake Road with everything that was in the bush there, I thought we're done.
And that's why these brave men and women made sure to stop at Cliff and Trout. They knew the dangers. But yes, it's something that as a city, we're gonna have to look at what we can do to ensure that that doesn't happen.
Do we have, like, right behind my house is a bunch of rocks, and there's huge trees behind my house that are just in front of the plumbing. Do they need to be taking those trees down to prevent further risk? Like, there's about a dozen of them that are almost 40 feet high that are going right over top of my garage.
There's gonna be a large area of the city that we're gonna have to review everything, and it's gonna have to start now to see what is a mitigated risk that we can eliminate and what isn't. So we are starting to do that process right now and working with the provincial government to identify areas that maybe they can come and mitigate, and what we can do as a community though as well.
What about the backcountry? Can we go back into our remote cabins now, or are we still staying within our community?
No, so we've opened everything up that I feel comfortable opening up. I don't feel good about getting folks out into the fire perimeter area yet, just because it is so large, like I talked about over there. We focus so much energy here around what we could. So it's gonna take some time before we feel good about letting people out farther, because it's such a large area. We just haven't had a chance to get boots on the ground around the whole thing yet. So please be patient with us, but I understand you want to get there. But yeah, it's just going to take time, unfortunately. Anyone else?
What about fishing? Like, everybody wants to know if anybody can go fishing and where.
I hear as long as you have a fishing license, if you enter the water inside the area that we've remained open, as long as you're not going behind closed roads and everything, all the water access is available for recreation, for fishing. We just ask that if you see our helicopters flying around, looking, some of them have buckets on the bottom and we dip out of the lake to put water on the fire. Please avoid them. Please avoid if you end up seeing any of the bombers or the scoopers getting ready to dip on the lake. Please get to near the shore, but not so close to the shore that one of the burnt out trees could fall on you and hit you in the boat. And that's why we're also asking people not to get out of their boats and go hiking around in the burned area, because it's just not safe. It's just so many burnt out dead trees. Dead trees are falling every minute out there. Exactly, all the root structure's been burnt out underneath, so they're falling down left and right. So yeah, that's what we ask. Just if you want to go on your boats, take a look at stuff, absolutely. Just please avoid our firefighting aircraft, and please don't get out on the shore, because anywhere that's burned, it's not safe. And even if you see a green patch on the edge of the shore, chances are, farther inside, there's still hot black edge. So we don't want the wind gust to pick up and get someone caught in a green island or a green pocket. So does that answer your question, ma'am?
That's a really good point too. Before I forget, we are in an area of no TAM. That means absolutely no drone usage anywhere. If you are caught with that, that will be a finable offense and you will severely be punished because it is extremely dangerous. We have it everywhere from Baker's all the way over basically to here and onto the Saskatchewan side. They also have a no TAM in place, which I mean, like I said, it means zero airspace involvement. So it needs to be reiterated. I know you want photos, you want to take your drone out and see what the black edge looks like. Do not do that. It's extremely dangerous and could potentially be a finable offense. So.
Jason, can you comment on Camp Whitney? Because that's a question we have quite a bit.
So everybody knows Camp Whitney burned down last year, right? The cook shack? Well, the fire was so scared of that this year, it burned right up to the edge and said no. Literally, you can see where the fire just looked at it and said, I'm not going taking any more. So it stopped right dead in its tracks there. So it's all good. I didn't do that, but yeah. Yeah.
Can you talk about hydro clearing the lines?
We are using pumps and hose for sure. We've got people out there with hose spraying water.
American counterpart. Hydro for us means power.
Sorry about that. Yeah. There's some subtle differences between our English languages. Yes. As quickly as things can get going, they're going to get stuff out. I mean, we've had train tracks that got burned, and so there's a lot of infrastructure that was damaged that we're slowly getting back up to speed as quickly as we can. Yeah, you said, what was the term? Hydro what?
Hydro.
Hydro. Oh, we have this term called hydro mob.
They've been out, like their first task was to start getting things back online, Sally's Beach, all that. They sent in huge crews. Their next wave was just I think it was something like 4 or 5 separate groups of chainsaw people that are contracted. They're still out there cutting everything down, ensuring to widen that berth, widen that path, transmission line, all of that's being done. They were highly efficient. I was surprised at the speed that they came to put that stuff in. So they're still doing it though. There's huge areas that they're working on still.
Which of the 3 lakes do you want the kids to go this summer? Danair Beach, Baker's Narrows, Sally's Beach, or Canning? Kids want to know where they're going.
So Baker's Narrows. Baker's Narrows is going to continue to be utilized. Their campground is going to be utilized for the wildfire people. Sally's Beach will still be accessible. Baker's Narrows, the campground, is not going to be for probably likely another month?
Yep.
Yeah, because we have so many firefighters. We have another 100 coming in. We need that campground to continue to do that, to give us that support. So Sally's Beach there would be a good one. Channing, beautiful, gorgeous place, still utilized. I can't speak of any of the areas in Saskatchewan, but like I said, here in town, those are definitely good options.
When are we going to start doing this as a unit?
Sorry?
I don't see the border. When do we start doing things as a unit?
I would like to say sooner rather than later, but we've had our issues with that, and we're trying to work through them, but it's a two-way street, and it doesn't seem to be working that way for us right now. So I couldn't agree more.
Is there anything, I think he's asking, is there anything that we can do to help you guys come together as taxpayers? Is there anything we can do to help?
I've been on both sides of the border.
It's sure.
Speak to your politicians when it comes to that, and if not municipal, that's provincial and federal politicians who want to see that change. Then you as people have to write not just one form letter, but individual letters, and make it nice and loud and not that you're doing it. Because these guys can't do that, and it's not part of what, they're not even allowed to do that. They gotta stay away from that kind of
Yeah, we're not asking for
no, that's what I'm saying. So really, the weapon for that is you. We've been doing it all along, ever since we've been in here. We've been pushing hard for interprovincial, togetherness and all that sort of thing, but the kumbaya seems to come to an end. So, really, it's the people, you, and those people, in the Saskatchewan side, who are doing the same thing, all have to come together and make the politicians understand that that's what they have to do.
I'm talking more face-to-face politicians than I am, but face-to-face is what we have to do, people to people, not politicians.
Well, you do, both of those things, all the people you're talking to are gonna have to talk to somebody who can change it. Because just because you and somebody in Creighton decide you wanna do it, that doesn't change much, sorry. So you're gonna have to work collectively to work higher up.
Exactly where it all is.
Yeah?
Our Unified Command Group did meet every other day almost with our counterparts in Saskatchewan. And as David said, we made overtures often to say we're prepared to help, we're prepared to do whatever. And they indicated that they had things under control on their side. So we made every effort that we could to sort of mend that or to support them and work with them. But provincially, they seemed to think that they had it covered, and so we were confident, or we had to have confidence in them that they did have it under control.
I wonder how the Mayor Beach feels about that.
So I'd like to know who put the kibosh on that? Like, who exactly do we speak to? Who's the one saying, no, we don't want this help? Like, who do we write our letters to?
SPSA.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Premier,
SPSA is the one that said no. I have no problem saying that at this platform. SPSA said no. That's who. And Mayor Fontaine is right. As a community, and Creighton as a community, and Denair Beach as a community, our community members have to come together and say enough, and as well as our lake community, and say, we are all one region. We all grew up here. We have our kids here, our hospital here, everything, and we are all one community. But if we don't ourselves start acting like that, we will never. So it's like the healthcare. When push came to shove, and we needed one of our community members to have dialysis here, what happened? Everybody here got up and had their say, and what happened? It changed. So we as a community, all of us together, have to come together and say, when this happens again, because something will happen again where this border gets in our way, we have to say this is enough. Enough.
It seems so.
It seems silly to me that we can rely on different countries, but we can't rely on our neighboring
100%.
province.
100%.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, and there's one other thing involved here as well. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm fine. There's one other thing involved here too, because does it work now? I can yell without it. Anyway, the other thing is, even within our own province, we run into information sharing that needs to be shared in a more expedient way. And that's because we're a municipality, we're a border municipality, but we also have parks people, Baker's Narrows Provincial Park, so there's another body within our province. Then we have the unorganized territories all around everywhere else. That's the cottage associations and whomever. And that is Northern Affairs. So we have to deal with that in our own area and our own province as well. So if we're going to come together, we have to make sure that that's us too, and Creighton and Denair, and we'll be stronger.
so I hate to break this party up. Unfortunately, we have to go. We have planning to do for tomorrow's operations that need to get out to everybody. I just want to say thank you very much. Everybody was extremely cooperative and respectful. I know that it's a very difficult time for everybody, so I appreciate your cooperation in this. There's probably lots of questions that are still floating around in everybody's mind. Please feel free to send them to our info, there we go. The media people, the smart people. Info at flinflon.ca. I will try to monitor that as best as possible, get back to you with anything I can or wherever it's appropriate for it to go to. Again, thank you all for coming, and there's nothing else.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.